And once again, good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. We're at 6:33 p.m. Central, 7:33 p.m. Eastern, as we are watching for the possibility of severe weather development across East Alabama and West Georgia over the next couple of hours or so. I wanted to jump in here and give you an update. The Storm Prediction Center has just issued this graphic. It's called the Mesoscale Discussion. And this is a product that the Storm Prediction Center issues when they're watching a particular area for the possible formation of severe weather. And you'll notice that the area inside that red circle is the greatest area of concern at the moment in the southeastern United States. And they're telling us that a tornado watch is likely. Thunderstorms will intensify this evening. Severe thunderstorms will be capable of producing tornadoes and damaging winds across this particular area. So this is kind of the heads up from the Storm Prediction Center that they are seriously considering issuing a watch. And in this case, it's most likely going to be a tornado watch. And what's happening at the moment, and I'm watching the chat room here for any updates. We're just looking to see, and I don't see anything just yet. But the National Weather Service offices, most likely in Birmingham, Atlanta, and the other offices around the southeastern United States, will have a conference call with the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma, and they will coordinate a tornado watch. Typically, the meteorologist will post in the chat room and tell us when they're in that process, and I don't see any discussion at the moment where they are actually. Take that back. We'll be coordinating with the SPC and neighboring WFOs shortly. So Birmingham has given us heads up that they are anticipating that coordination call with neighboring weather forecast offices and the Storm Prediction Center. So that may be underway as we speak. So we could anticipate a tornado watch being issued for East Alabama and West Georgia within the hour, if not sooner. We don't know exactly where that's going to be, but if I had to take a guess, and I don't want to do that, but I would say that probably most of East Alabama and West Georgia will be involved in this. It's probably going to encompass portions of southwest Alabama, central Alabama, east Alabama, and it may get a tier or two of West Georgia counties, and it could end up being a little further north up into northwest Georgia as well. If I had to guess right now, I would say between the I-59 and I-85 corridors in the state of Alabama, and maybe a tier or two of counties into Georgia for that tornado watch. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll know, like I said, within the next, probably with less than 30 minutes from now, we'll know what this watch is going to be. Let's go over here and look at the radar, and I'll show you what the Weather Service is paying attention to at the moment. And I told you this on the last update. We have two things going on here. We have a cold front that's coming down across Arkansas and into northwest Alabama. That's one issue. The second issue is we're expecting a low-level jet amplification. That's at about 5,000 feet in the lower levels of the atmosphere, with winds veering out of the southwest, and that's going to run right across central Alabama and right across east Alabama and into West Georgia. Well, where that low-level jet stream amplifies is where the greatest risk of tornadoes would be. Is this an off-the-scale tornado risk situation? Absolutely not. but it's maybe a little higher than what we would normally see. So I think that's why the tornado watch is coming from the Storm Prediction Center. And the bullseye is going to be right across East Alabama and West Georgia. I'm talking anywhere between I-20 and I-85. Primarily the Dr. Don coverage area of East Alabama and West Georgia. And so we're watching the storms and showers that are moving into East Alabama right now to see how they behave. The models all afternoon have been telling us that we would see rapid development of showers and thunderstorms across East Alabama and West Georgia around 7 p.m. Central, and we are getting close to 7 p.m. Central, and we are indeed seeing thunderstorms continue to build, especially in extreme southeastern Coosa County, extreme southwestern Tallapoosa, across northern and northwestern Elmore, back into Autauga. We've got a nasty-looking storm sitting over there between Selma and Autaugaville up in northwest Autauga County. And then more showers and thunderstorms southwest of Selma. All of that's moving off to the northeast in this general direction. So that's going to put these storms, all of this convection you see in central Alabama, is going to wind up here in East Alabama. And we're watching the intensification rate here on these storms because right now, everything is playing out exactly the way the models have been telling us it would all afternoon. So with rapid intensification in these storms, we could get some severe thunderstorms, and there could be the possibility of a few tornadoes. I'll tell you that right now, there's absolutely nothing out there to be concerned about. We have no special weather statements. We have no warnings. We have no watches. I think we will be under a watch within the next 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll watch together and see how these storms behave as they move off to the northeast. But heads up, if you're anywhere across East Alabama or West Georgia, I'll show you the area that the Storm Prediction Center is really concerned about as far as our coverage area is concerned. I just put a circle around it right there. If you're in or close to that circle I just put on the screen, you need to really be weather aware over the course of the next 2 to 3 hours across the region. I'm talking about places like Talladega, Childersburg. We're talking about Kellyton, Rockford, Alexander City, Dadeville, Camp Hill. We're talking about Gray Hill, Woodland, Wedowee, Roanoke, Wadley, Rock Mills, Franklin, Carrollton. Down in Chambers County, we're talking about places like Lynette. We're talking Lafayette, you folks over toward West Point, LaGrange, down into the Auburn-Opelika area, and back over into Harris County. That's our primary focus. Of course, in a situation like this, if we were to get a tornado warning anywhere in Alabama, we'd be paying attention to it right now, and same thing for Georgia. But at the moment, that inside that circle is our primary coverage area, and that's where we really focus as we go throughout our events here on Dr. Don's Weather. Now, I know a lot of folks watch us all across the southeastern United States, so let me zoom out and let's talk about what's going on everywhere else. Really, at the moment, the severe weather is well north of us. We do have a tornado warning up there on the Tennessee River just north of Huntsville, straddling the Alabama-Tennessee state line. We have another tornado warning north of Nashville and a severe thunderstorm warning just north of Nashville. And then north of Knoxville, we have a tornado warning there, and then another one south of Columbus, Ohio, a couple of tornado warnings up there. So there's not a tremendous amount of severe weather out there right now, and what is out there is well north of us and moving away from us. That stuff up there to the north will not be a problem for us here in East Alabama and West Georgia. What we're watching are two things. We're watching this convection across central Alabama that is in the process of developing and rapidly intensifying. That's going to move right into East Alabama and West Georgia within the next 1 to 2 hours. And then we're watching the backside of this line, which has really been broken all afternoon. We're watching to see if there is redevelopment back down there. So that could bring us some more showers and thunderstorms back across the area around midnight or 1, 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. So kind of a 1-2 punch here. And so far, the models have been telling us all afternoon to watch out for this possibility. And it does appear, at least, that we are getting some rapid intensification in some of these storms across central Alabama, and they are moving off to the northeast toward East Alabama and West Georgia. So that's the latest. We're anticipating a new tornado watch from the National Weather Service, and here comes another notification from the National Weather Service. It says we are working on the watch coordination with the SPC right now. So that is the word coming from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. Let's see if Atlanta is talking about it. Give me 1 second here. We're doing all this live as it happens. I don't see any verbiage from Atlanta that indicates that they're on that call, but I'd be awfully surprised if they were not. They maybe just didn't post anything about it in the National Weather Service chat room. But going back to Birmingham, they are most definitely on the call because they're posting that they're in the process of coordinating that watch as we speak. So it'll take them a few minutes to talk about it, decide where the boundary lines are going to be, and then actually push all of this out to media. We'll get it when that happens, and we'll show it to you here on the screen when that does take place. So now would be a good time to do a couple of things. Make sure that you have everything that you might need in your safe place in the event that you do have to evacuate to your safe place. And in that area, you're going to want to go to the center of your lowest floor of your home. A closet, a bathroom's always a good idea, but make sure it's in the center of your home on the lowest floor, away from exterior walls and windows. You're going to want to make sure you take pillows, blankets, a futon mattress, a baby bed mattress are great ideas. You want to make sure you have helmets for everybody, especially the kids, but adults need helmets as well. I'm talking about bicycle helmets, motorcycle helmets, football helmets, batting helmets, doesn't matter. As long as it protects your head, that's good. Make sure you have on hard-soled shoes. Make sure, this is going to be a nighttime deal, so make sure everybody's dressed and make sure they have on hard-soled shoes. You want to make sure you carry something with you where you can make a loud noise in the event that you have to get someone's attention. If you, of course, want to make sure your phone stays charged up, so you should be charging your phone right now. And just think about things that you might need in that safe place in the event that you do go under a warning and you have to evacuate to your safe place later on this evening. If you live in a mobile home, I hate to have this conversation, and I know that it's going, sometimes this conversation upsets people, but I'd rather you be upset with me and be alive. So I'm going to be pretty strong with you. If you live in a mobile home, when a watch is issued, you should evacuate that mobile home. Here's what I always get when I say that. But I don't have anywhere to go. Yes, you do. You have to. You have no options. If I told you that there was a good chance, and I'm not saying this in this particular case, but there's always that chance, folks. So if I told you there was a better than 50 or 60% chance you were about to get injured or worse, would you then find somewhere else to go? And the answer's probably going to be yes, or at least I would. There's got to be a friend. There's got to be a family member. It's not going to be easy. It's not convenient. I get it. And most of you won't be affected by severe weather if you live in a mobile home. But there's always that chance you could be. Why roll the dice? Why gamble? take the course of least regret, go somewhere else, leave your mobile home in weather situations such as this. A lot of people ask me if there are tornado shelters that open in different locations. And folks, I know that I've seen people posting in the chat room of different locations, different city halls and places like that that may open, and that's fantastic. But understand, most locations don't open pre-tornado type shelters because people won't leave their home until they go under a warning, and then you're actually putting them in more danger by letting them get on the road during a warning. People don't understand. Once you go under a warning, it's too late. You got to stay wherever you are. Do not get in your automobile. That's the worst place you could possibly be during a tornado warning. So if folks are posting in the chat room where there may be some locations around East Alabama and West Georgia that have opened their doors and welcomed you to come ride out the storm, that's great. Fantastic, and I encourage you to do that. But do it when the watch is issued. Don't wait until you go under a warning. Get out of that mobile home. I mean, folks, falling trees is dangerous, and that's what gets a lot of folks in mobile homes. It's not actually the tornado, because there's not a whole lot that can take a direct hit from a tornado. But trees on mobile homes is where a lot of the injured and fatalities take place during severe weather, and especially during tornado situations. So have yourself a place to go and be safe. And we're going to ride this with you as we go throughout the evening and continue to bring you up to date on the latest information from the National Weather Service. So we're getting heads up, too, that there are a couple of areas of weak rotation in those storms down in central Alabama, one in Dallas and Autauga, and another one in the Autauga-Elmore area, but nothing concerning yet. So let's go down here and take a look at this. All right, so the two areas that the Weather Service is keeping an eye on right now, that's going to be that area, and it's going to be this area. So we have an area of weak rotation now just inside of Autauga County, just crossed over the Dallas-Autauga County line. That's going to be up there northwest of Autaugaville. And then we have weak rotation down here around Deatsville. As the Weather Service is saying, that's nothing to be concerned about. Understand, all thunderstorms rotate. It would not be a thunderstorm if it didn't rotate. But we are beginning to detect some weak rotation in these storms. So that's telling us that the storm is developing. It's becoming very healthy. The structure appears to be building significantly. And so the Weather Service keeping an eye on both of those storms. There's absolutely nothing indicating any tornadic activity in either of these storms at the moment. But we do note these storms are developing and increasing in intensity. So they're just noting that both of those storms are not severe, but they are continuing to grow, and they're keeping an eye on those. Of course, like we've been telling you for the last few minutes, all of this activity down here in central Alabama is moving in this general direction. So this storm down here around Deatsville most likely will move into southwestern Tallapoosa County within the next 20 to 30 minutes. If it holds together, it eventually will cross over 280 somewhere around Dadeville. And then if it continues to hold together, it would cross over extreme northwestern Chambers and then up into Randolph County, most likely somewhere between Wadley and Roanoke. So, I mean, that's way downstream. There are a lot of things. Excuse me, and I'm probably going to have to do that multiple times tonight. This pollen's got my voice in a bad way, but so the point I'm trying to make is we're seeing these storms begin to grow down here, and we think that they will continue to grow as they move northeast. So we're giving you folks upstream a fair amount of warning to at least pay attention to the storms that we are seeing on screen developing right now. So that's going to be you folks up here in extreme northern Elmore County, extreme southeastern Coosa, southwestern Tallapoosa. Pay attention to that storm down there around Deatsville. It most likely is going to continue to intensify as it moves off to the northeast. And unfortunately, you've got another one over here on the Dallas County, Ottawa County line that's going to take pretty much the exact same track. So you may have a couple of storms to deal with in those locations that I just mentioned over the next hour or two. All right, so we're getting heads up that the new watch that's on the way will include much of our area. Now, this is the National Weather Service Birmingham talking, with the exception of the far southeast counties. So that's going to tell me that this new watch will indeed cover all of East Alabama, and probably down to probably about Eufaula, if I had to guess. And then north, I'm not sure how far north it's going to cover, but most definitely between I-20 and I-85, the Dr. Don coverage areas, you're about to go under a tornado watch, and we're waiting for that to come down from the National Weather Service, and it should hit the screen here in just a few moments. You're going to hear all kind of bells and whistles and alarms and flashing lights go off when that happens. And we'll let you know when it officially goes out. But it is coming. Let me go back over here to the chat room while we're waiting on that watch. And see if anybody has any questions. Molly says that she's in Standing Rock. Do you think it's best if she goes to her family? Molly, your message, let's see if I can get back to it. I lost it. I can't get back to it. I don't know if are you in a mobile home? I didn't see all of your message, and I apologize. Lay off my bifocals, Pratt. Yeah, great advice there from Alyssa. Be as prepared as you can. I mean, I'd rather err on the side of caution. Just be cautious. Do what you can do to protect yourself, and I think you'll be in a good place. Is the weather going to be bad where I'm at? I'm up in northeast Georgia. It certainly will come through there first. There's a big question mark as to whether it makes it this far north and east. But we're going to probably see it come through East Alabama and West Georgia before it would arrive up here. So I think East Alabama, West Georgia has a better chance at seeing severe weather than we do up here in northeast Georgia. Kay, I don't know if Franklin's in the watch just yet. We have not got the graphic on it. It should come out here at any moment. Yeah, Remy, no need to get, anxious about this. We're going to talk you through it. I mean, that's what we're here for. I know a lot of people suffer from storm anxiety. I get it. And it is something that can be very scary. But here's what you have to understand. 95% of surviving severe weather is being aware of what's going on around you. And if you're here watching Dr. Don's weather with the rest of us all across Alabama and Georgia, then you're doing the right thing. You're taking care of yourself And we're going to give you the information that you need. We're going to tell you exactly where the storms are, where they're going, and what you can expect. And if a storm does threaten your home, we'll let you know ahead of time, and all you have to do is go to your safe place, and odds are pretty good you'll be just fine. These are progressives, by the way, Pratt. If that makes any difference. Well, it's the same for LaGrange. You're in West Georgia. This is all of East Alabama and West Georgia. Same for Heflin. You're in East Alabama. Hey, Aaron, watching us in Bacon Level. Talladega, same thing. You're in East Alabama. Hey, Mike, tell them. Preach it, brother. That is the way to watch us on the smart TV. The resolution is absolutely phenomenal. And a little hint, if you do watch us on your smart TV over on YouTube, and Mike, you jump in here if I'm telling this wrong, because I can't watch while I'm doing this. But I believe if you go to that gear cog in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, click it, you have an option to watch us in high definition. And if you have decent, you don't even have to have fast internet anymore, but if you have decent internet, you'll be able to watch us in high definition. And our Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar is just off the chain in high resolution over there on YouTube on that big screen TV. Well, Molly, if you're in a brick home, you're safe, as safe as you would be anywhere else. And I mean, unless you can leave and go to Montana before the storms hit, because this is going to affect all of East Alabama. It potentially could affect all of East Alabama and West Georgia. Not saying it's going to happen in everybody's house, but the potential is there. All right, here we go with the new Tornado Watch. The graphic is not downloaded just yet, but I can give you the county outline in Alabama. The Tornado Watch in Alabama is going to be for Autauga, Bibb, Blunt, Calhoun, Chambers, Cherokee, Chilton, Clay, Cleburne, Coosa, Dallas, Elmore, Etowah, Fayette, Greene, Hale, Jefferson, Lamar, Lowndes, Marengo, Marion, Montgomery, Perry, Pickens, Randolph, Shelby, St. Clair, Sumter, Talladega, Tallapoosa, Tuscaloosa, Walker, and Winston counties. So if I just called out the county you live in, you are going to be included in this Tornado Watch, and the graphic just popped. So let me back off here just a bit. And there you go. You can see that a good amount of Alabama now under a Tornado Watch. This Tornado Watch is in effect. Tornado Watch number 72 is in effect until 8 a.m. Central, and I'll tell you, this watch will not go that long. They're putting it out there until 8 a.m. Wait a minute. That's not the Alabama portion. Stand by. For some reason, it takes a minute for all this stuff to kind of wash out and get correct. Bear with me here. Okay, this watch is in effect until 2 a.m. for Alabama. It does include portions of Georgia. Let me see if I can get the Georgia County outline. It does include portions of West Georgia. I don't see the Georgia outline just yet, but let's zoom back in. I can tell you. It is going to be Troop, Franklin, Carroll in our coverage area. So the West Georgia counties, including this Tornado Watch, are Troop, Franklin, Carroll, and it continues on to the north all the way up to Dalton, across northwest Georgia. And in Alabama, Lee County really is the only county in our coverage area that's not covered by this tornado watch. And it continues all the way to the Tennessee state line as well. So there you go. Tornado watch number 82 in effect for East Alabama and West Georgia until 2 a.m. Central, 3 a.m. Eastern this evening and tomorrow morning. Now, what we're watching, let me switch you back over to the radar. There we go. Now you can see the graphic. And you can see those counties that are covered by this tornado watch. Now, what we're watching right now are these storms in central Alabama. They're stretching from Alexander City all the way back down to Selma, back up to Clanton, and down to Montgomery. The heaviest of all of these at the moment are in Autauga County, and that's going to be just south of the Billingsley area, up there off of Highway 82. Prattville, you're in good shape. This is well north of you. We have another cell that's developing near Clanton, right there on top of the home office headquarters of the Alabama Emergency Management Agency. And then we've got some smaller showers now near Titus, right there on 231, just north of Wetumpka. This storm that came out of Elmore County really has not intensified that much. It's over here in Tallapoosa County now, just north of our town up there on Lake Martin. So we do have a brand new tornado watch, but at the moment we have nothing severe across East Alabama. We're really going to be watching this stuff down just north of Montgomery to see how fast it can intensify and whether or not it becomes tornadic. And then we have more storms beginning to develop back into Mississippi, right there along I-20 near Meridian, Mississippi. All right, so let's see. Agnes Watkins is watching us from Roanoke this evening. We have a Facebook user watching us from Wadley. You Facebook folks, if your name's not showing up, let me go back. I'm going to leave the radar up, and I'll just look through the chat room. But look, if you're on Facebook and you hadn't done so already, go to that link you see scrolling in the chat room where it says give Dr. Don permission to see your name. Click on that so I can see who you are. Let's see. Ashley is watching us in Roanoke. There was a question. Auburn. So I guess you're asking about Auburn. Well, Lee County was not included in the tornado watch. Doesn't mean you can't have severe weather down there in the Lee County area, the Auburn-Opelika area, but you're not in the tornado watch at this time. Jeremy's watching us in Valley, Alabama. Bama Pilot, yeah, I'm watching the National Weather Service chat room. They're talking about that rotation in Elmore County right now. They're not that overly concerned about it. We're just kind of watching to see if it increases. Sheila's watching us in Columbus. Lineville's in the house. Hey, Jody. Robert's watching us from Carrollton. Honolulu in the house. Hey, Bama Pilot 1970, good to have you watching us. What's the weather conditions like in Honolulu right now? Standing Rock's in the house. Hackneyville. Hey, Terry. Reiterate the area of concern for East Alabama and West Georgia. If you're inside that yellow box you see on the screen, that's the area of concern. That's where the tornado watch has just been posted. Inside that yellow area and, close to that yellow area. Those would be the areas to be concerned. Barbara, don't be scared. Everybody tell Barbara we love her. Ain't nothing going to happen to her. She's going to be just fine. Big group hug for Barbara. %, 95% of surviving severe weather is being aware of what's going on around you. And if you're here watching us, you are going to be aware. We're going to let you know if you need to go take cover. Right now, there's nothing serious out there that's going to threaten anybody. We're watching to see if it's going to develop. There we go. Barbara's getting some hugs. Wampus Cat's watching this in Pike Road, Alabama. Manika Smith, I hope I'm saying that right. Don't be terrified. That's why we're here for you. Clanton, you got some thunder and lightning going on, but we don't have anything severe there right now. We are getting a hail marker just south of you, south of the Enterprise community. If you're in Chilton County, if you're in Clanton, you know where the Enterprise community is at. That be where my grandpappy's from. That's where the strength side of the family came from, was Enterprise in Chilton County. Not Enterprise, Alabama, though I've lived there also. This was up in Chilton County. But anyway, you do have a strong thunderstorm sitting down there just south of the Enterprise community in northern Watauga County, but it's not severe at the moment. Good, Barbara. I'm glad that's making you feel better. I know storm anxiety is a deal. It's a real thing. A lot of people suffer from that, and I understand. It is a scary thing. But as long as you know what's going on, and you can take cover, odds of surviving severe weather events increase tremendously. So Manika says I said her name correctly. That's probably a first. So if you don't have a basement, the safest place is the center of the lowest floor in your home or business. Go to the lowest floor and go to the middle of that floor. Now, find a room that's as close to the middle of that floor as possible. That would be a closet, a bathroom maybe. What you don't want to do is shelter in a room on an exterior wall or anywhere close to glass. You want to be in a room, preferably a closet or a bathroom, as close to the center portion of your home as you can find. And that's where you want to go in the event that a warning is issued for your area. Folks, understand tornadoes are typically, just several yards wide. I mean, if a warning is issued for a county, that doesn't mean the whole county is about to be leveled. They typically, cause destruction in a relatively small tract in the southeast anyway. Now, we see are tornadoes out in Kansas and Oklahoma. You see those big, huge double vortex and rope tornadoes and Wizard of Oz kind of stuff, and it's just terrifying. And we can have very strong tornadoes in Alabama and Georgia. Yes, we do. But typically speaking, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not trying to minimize anything, but I'm trying to reel back some of the anxiety and fear that some of you may have. tornadoes typically don't affect everybody in a community. Now, there are those occasions when that's, that is the case. But most of the time, as long as you know about it, and if you are in the direct path, you go to a safe place, most of the time you'll be just fine. I guarantee you do some research, because I have. Most people who are severely injured or lose their life in severe weather, most of them had no clue what was going on around them. And that's sad, and it's unfortunate, because that's the one thing we do have control over. We have zero control over the weather. The Almighty has that in his hands. But we can warn you. We can give you the information to help you protect yourself. And another thing that just really drives me insane, when I hear people say, well, you know what? When it's my time, it's my time. When the good Lord gets ready for me, he's going to take me home. I admire the underlying message that you're saying when you say that. But the good Lord gave you a brain to think with. And if he didn't want you to protect yourself from severe weather, then he wouldn't have given you the ability to do it. And that's what we're here for, to give you the information that you need to help you survive situations that we may or we may not be dealing with this evening across East Alabama and West Georgia. Okay, I was just checking a few things here. All right, Weather Service telling us we've got some visible cloud rotation over Highway 231 near 10 Cedars in Elmore County. And that was reported. By a trained Millbrook firefighter, a trained spotter. So that's going to be right here. I believe we're talking about this cell just to the southwest of Equality. Let's see. Get my bearings straight here. Yes, because that's 231 right there. It would have to be this cell that he is referencing. Let me look at a couple of things right here. And let's go look at the... Yeah, there it is right there. No question, we've got some rotation in this storm. It's showing up very clearly. But now that is broad rotation. What we need here to get a tornado, and what we hope we don't end up with, is we need for that to tighten up a little bit. We need for that red area to get a little bit smaller. If that happens, then we may have a tornado warning coming here on this storm. You folks up here in Equality, heads up. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit, recenter that. Our town, Highway 280 between Alexander City and Dadeville. If you're up here on Wind Creek State Park, heads up. You got a pretty strong storm to your southwest moving to the northeast. If it holds together, and we could be looking, the Weather Service is watching this storm real close, and they could certainly issue something on this if this behavior continues. Yeah, it's rotating, but I'm just not picking up anything crazy as far as the rotation is concerned. But that's not always a good indication. There's clearly rotation in that storm. And we're looking at that from Birmingham. Let's see if Montgomery has a better look at it. Well, all right, we just lost the radar, so bear with me while I get this restarted. This may take a second or two. All right, so looking at this from Montgomery, that's real noisy, but let's take a look at it from Atlanta just for kicks and grins while we're here. Yeah, that's even worse. All right, so back to Birmingham we go. And it is most definitely still there. Again, this is rotation. And a storm that's getting awfully close to Equality, Alabama. It's below the threshold that the Weather Service typically uses to issue a tornado warning. Also noticing, let's go back and look at the reflectivity. Also seeing another area of rotation there, and it's pretty tight, just southeast of Billingsley. This is in Autauga County. Let's go back to the velocity right there. This would be just east of Highway 82 and just southeast of Billingsley, moving toward I-65. Incoming winds in the 40 to 50. Oh, we just lost the signature too. So some of these storms are trying to rotate, no question about it. Just haven't seen anything get out of hand just yet. And that's good. So you're going to start hearing some rumbles of thunder if you're up here in Wadley, if you're in extreme southeastern Clay County, northern Tallapoosa, northern Chambers, even Roanoke. You may be hearing some rumbles of thunder off to your west, though I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of lightning output with these storms. And again, folks, what we're watching is this area right across central Alabama and up here across east Alabama and west Georgia to see if any of these storms are going to go severe. So far, we have not seen any storms develop to that level just yet. And that is a good sign because the computers were telling us this afternoon that this was indeed going to happen. And it has happened, but they also suggested that these would rapidly intensify into supercell thunderstorms, and that hasn't happened so far. So that's good. Hey, Jimmy Stevens, good to see you in here tonight. Jimmy's one of our supporters here on Dr. Don's Weather. Barbara says she can hear some rumbles of thunder near Milltown. You Facebook users that hadn't already done it, you see that link scrolling up in the chat room there that says Facebook users. Click here to give Dr. Don permission to, should say, see your username, and it's a link. That is legitimate. That's not a bot. That's not a scam. That is legitimate, so that we can see who you are if you're on Facebook watching us. Also, you Facebook users, let me warn you that there is a good chance if you watch us over on one of our groups, like pages, East Alabama Weather. I had it right to start with. The East Alabama Weather Group, the Central Alabama Weather Group. According to Facebook, we're not going to be allowed to stream using a third party, which we do, to those groups after April 22nd. We think we're going to stay on our page on Facebook, but we're not 100% positive about that. Here's the best idea. Go over to YouTube and follow us, hit subscribe, click that little bell. You can watch us on your smart TV, on your tablet. The resolution is phenomenal. I guarantee you Mike Putman is not having to get down right up on his phone and blow his phone up to see what the map says, because he's got it going on big screen TV. He can see it really well, and all of you can do that if you follow us over on YouTube. Watch us on that big screen TV. Nothing happening in Jackson Gap at the moment. We have no severe weather warnings. We do have a tornado watch that goes until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. But at the moment, you just got thunder showers out there. You got one cell in the southeastern sections of Clay, maybe southwest Randolph, extreme northwest Chambers up there around Abanda. You got some showers up in northern Tallapoosa County, also down in southern Coosa, southwestern Coosa. We do have one rotating thunderstorm that's in Autauga County, extreme northern Autauga County, but so far it's been pretty weak rotation. Nothing severe. And I believe we just got an updated graphic showing updated timing on all of this. Let me check that out. All right, so they've changed the timing a little bit. Let me see if I can get this. To upload. I'll tell you what we can do. We can just take this live up on the large monitor. Let's do that. Okay. All right, so here's the I know it's cutting off part of it, but you get the gist of what we're looking at here. Here's the updated timing, the updated graphic from the National Weather Service. So we're talking about through about 1 a.m. for most of East Alabama, 2 a.m. for West Georgia, and then I think we're out of this. So we're going to be dealing with, not the entire time, but we're going to be dealing with showers and thunderstorms from time to time between now and about 1 or 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that's the updated graphic. And back to the radar. Again, you can see we do have a tornado watch that was issued about 15, 20 minutes ago. And you can see if your county's in that watch or not. Pretty much covers everybody in East Alabama and West Georgia, with the exception of Lee County, Alabama, and Harris County. Troup County, Heard, Carroll, and then in Alabama, Cleburne, Calhoun, Talladega, Ashland, which is Clay County, Randolph, Chambers, Tallapoosa, Coosa, Elmore, Chilton, and Autauga. All covered under that tornado watch until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. I don't know if Lee's going to get the tornado watch later on or not. Now, the primary reason this tornado watch was issued is for this area of convection that you see right here. Do that a different way. And y'all don't be making fun of my drawings. This is the primary reason the watch was issued. It's not that line of storms that's coming into West Alabama, though we can't completely rule out a small spin-up tornado on that line also. But this is the prime reason the watch was issued, and all of this is moving in this direction. So I doubt that any of that even affects Lee County. Montgomery may not see any of this. Now, what you will see later on will be this stuff over in Mississippi. But at the moment, it's not severe. We'll just have to see if it holds together. If it does, if this becomes severe as it gets into southwest Alabama, then yeah, there is the chance they could add Lee County to the watch. But the watch was issued primarily for this stuff you see in central Alabama. And thank goodness the trend so far has been non-severe. We've seen several of these storms try to tighten up and go into maybe a tornado mode, but so far that hasn't happened, and that may be a good sign. It's still too early to say, but so far, not having any warnings is a good sign. Yeah, Erica, you should have, when you go to the YouTube channel, there should be an option there to click the little notification bell. And that will ensure that you get notified when we go live. And then, of course, make sure your notifications are turned on your phone, and make sure that you've given YouTube permission to give you notifications on your phone, which should be automatic unless you've previously said, no, I don't want notifications from YouTube, in which case you'd have to go back in there and turn that back on. No coffee is going to fix this. It may not, but it will certainly help. And I'm going to be taking a break here in just a few moments and doing just exactly that. Fixing a cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm just reading some comments from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. They're talking about different areas of rotation, but it's very broad. We don't have anything tight. I'm going to go back over to the base velocity and see. Yeah. This is the best looking rotation out there right now, just south of the Enterprise community up in Chilton County, about to cross over I-65 just north of Prattville, just south of the, y'all know where Stuckey's is up there on I-65? I know a lot of you do from that area. This is about to cross over I-65 right there in the vicinity of Stuckey's. And it is moving in that general direction. But again, this is very broad. So it's that is not an indication of a tornado. You need real tight rotation. And we don't have that. But the Weather Service is keeping an eye on it. And that's really the only. There could be some very broad rotation right there. Just northeast of Equality, southwest of Fish Pond. That could be a little rotation, but again, that's very broad rotation. Right now, it's really kind of holding its own, Tabby. It's not getting stronger. It's not getting weaker. But at the moment, the good news is it didn't explode into a rotating supercell thunderstorm like the models suggested some of this stuff could tonight. It's pretty much looked the same ever since it moved into Autauga County out of Selma 20 or 30 minutes ago. So it really hasn't changed much either way, which is telling me that there may be a cap on this storm and it's just not going to mature into anything much more. I can't say that for certain, but that's the way it looks right now. So, Weather Service, I'm watching them in the chat room, and they're really on this thing. They're watching it very closely, but right now I don't see anything to be overly concerned about. If you're in the Billingsley area, this has moved well off to your northeast. Now it's crossing over I-65 right now. So it's gotten kind of away from the Billingsley area. Michael, I'm sorry, my friend. We don't allow profanity in here. William, you need to be aware of what's going on. I'm not saying you guys need to stay up all night. We're not seeing it develop. It's there, but it hasn't developed as rapidly as the computer model suggested that it could. That's not to say things can't change quickly. They can. If that low-level jet kicks in, all of a sudden these storms could go into rotation real quick. But we're not seeing severe storms across central Alabama and east Alabama so far, and that's good. All right, so folks, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the feed up, but I'm going to take a quick break. I've got to go fix a cup of coffee, and there's a couple of things I want to look at. Of course, I'm glued to the National Weather Service chat room, so the second they give us a heads up if they're going to issue anything, I'll be right back with it. Now, I won't be gone, but just a couple of minutes anyway. So I'm going to step away, take a quick break, Go talk to Mother Nature for just a second and fix a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back. And we will continue with our live wall-to-wall coverage of the potential for severe weather across central Alabama, East Alabama, and West Georgia on Dr. Don's Weather. East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don back in here with you. It is 7:48 p.m. Central on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. I try to say that quite often because a lot of times, folks, again, especially if you're over on Facebook, you get things after the fact and maybe after the situation is over with. So always pay very close attention to the time, especially on Facebook. Before you click on the post in the upper left-hand corner, it'll show you how long ago the post was made. And if we're talking about weather information, if it's more than just a few minutes old, a lot of times it's outdated. So always pay attention to the time when you look at posts about weather on Facebook. And in our particular case, we are live at the moment. Of course, when we finish this live broadcast, it will repost, and then you can watch it again. So always keep that in mind with weather information. But we are live. It is 7:49 p.m. on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. We're watching for the possibility of severe weather development across central Alabama, east Alabama. Throughout the afternoon, we were kind of concerned because the Weather Service was telling us that the computer models were indicating that we could have a low-level jet set up right across East Alabama and West Georgia, which is veering of the wind. It's you have jet streams in the levels of the different levels of the atmosphere. You have an upper-level jet stream and you have a low-level jet stream. The low-level jet stream is down at about 5,000 feet, and there are indications that the low-level jet would veer out of the southeast, or southwest, I should say, and bring a tremendous influx of moisture with it and cause these storms to go into rotation. And we would have potentially could have rapid development across central Alabama and east Alabama, and then later move into West Georgia and on up toward Atlanta. And we have seen that come true. We have seen rapid development of thunderstorms, and we have seen a couple of spots of weak rotation within these storms. But so far, we haven't seen anything alarming. And just in the last few minutes, if you'll look over there on the left-hand side of the screen near Demopolis, Alabama, this is now the strongest storm in the state. I just put a circle around that for you right there along I-20, I-59, just to the northeast of York and northwest of Demopolis. No question, that is the strongest storm. We are watching a strong storm now in Tallapoosa County. That's going to be right there near Alexander City also. So those two circles you see on the screen are where the two heaviest storms are taking place at the moment in Alabama. Let me go to the reflectivity and switch that back to the velocity. And let's see if we have any... Yeah, we probably still have broad rotation right here just southwest of Kelly's Crossroads, what is that, Highway 22, right there at the Coosa County, Chilton County line on Highway 22, but that is very, very broad. And again, understand, all thunderstorms rotate. It's when you get a real tight couplet that you have to be concerned, and that's not giving us a real tight couplet. Looking on over here in Alexander City, that storm that's sitting right over Alex City, I don't see any rotation there at all. Nothing to be concerned about. So at the moment, the storms seem to have grown quickly to a certain level and then just kind of leveled out. We're not seeing them go in severe mode. That's not to say that can't change and change very quickly, but at the moment, we're just not seeing them grow past a certain level. And that is good news for East Alabama and West Georgia. Let me go back over here to the Alexander City storm. You got torrential rainfall in downtown Alex City right now. It stretches all the way down 63, all the way back down toward Wind Creek State Park. Just a nasty ride out there on 280. And that continues to the north and east up Highway 22, back up toward New Site. Hackneyville, you've got light rain, but you've got a thunder shower to your south. Got a couple of spots of rain here in Clay County and also southwest Randolph, but really nothing of any significance going on up there in Randolph County. Heavy rain back over toward Hyssop in Coosa County, back toward Kelly's Crossroads. Again, broad rotation near Kelly's Crossroads with that thunderstorm. That's been there ever since that storm left Dallas County an hour or so ago. But it just gets to us. It has gotten to a certain point in its development, and it's just kind of stabilized itself. It's not growing any stronger. Tornado watch in effect until 2 a.m. officially. I would not anticipate it lasting that long, but that's the official word. And you can see if your county is in that watch or not. Let's go back to the chat room for a few minutes, see how you guys are doing up there. Well, thank you, Gina. I appreciate that, and we do need your support. This is a very expensive venture. We're celebrating 5 years of this, too, by the way. 5 years we've been giving you live severe weather coverage across East Alabama and West Georgia. For those of you who are new to Dr. Don's weather and you don't quite understand who this Yahoo is up in Northeast Georgia that's doing all this weather stuff, I'm originally from Randolph County, Alabama, Roanoke in particular. I was born and raised in Prattville, Alabama, down in Autauga County, but spent 22 years in Randolph County in broadcast radio and also in public safety. I was the EMA director there for Randolph County for 6 years. I was a member of the Roanoke Volunteer Fire Department, left as a lieutenant. I was with the police department, was on the school board. I was as deeply rooted in the community as you could possibly be. And so folks got to know when weather was bad at 2 a.m. in the morning, they could turn the radio on, I'd be there. And so that has followed me all these years. And then when technology got good enough so that we could do this on the internet, we started doing that about 5 years ago. We were on the air the night the tornado came through the Corinth community, Wadley, and up through Rock Stand, and even over on into Noonan. We were on the air the night the tornado went through Wedowee. So this is something that we've just kind of developed over time. And to do it and do it right, and anybody who knows me knows that if I can't do it the right way, I'm not going to do it. There is cost involved in it, and it's significant. And so anything you can do to help us out, we greatly appreciate it. There are multiple options scrolling there in the chat room on how you can help us. One of the best things you can do is if you own a business or you know someone who does own a business, have them send me a message on Messenger, and I'll explain to them how they can be a partner with us here on Dr. Don's Weather, and we can help them and they can help us, and all of this helps you, give you the severe weather coverage you deserve across East Alabama and West Georgia. Let's face it, and I'm not being critical, it's business. Television stations in Birmingham are not going to stay with severe weather across East Alabama. Television stations in Atlanta are not going to pick up East Alabama or West Georgia. They may start talking about West Georgia if it looks like those storms are going to make it to Atlanta. That's where the people are. I mean, there's almost 7 million people in Atlanta. So that's where the advertisers want their dollars spent. And so it's no fault of the television stations at all. I know meteorologists at both of the big stations in Birmingham and Atlanta, and I'm telling you, if they had it their way personally, they would be wall to wall if there was severe weather in Moose Jaw, Alaska, as long as it had a chance to affect you across their coverage area. But it's business. They can't do that. So we can, and that's why we are here. Covering the weather for East Alabama and West Georgia. And I'll say this much, too. On nights like tonight, when we're kind of watching to see what's going to happen, if we were to have severe weather in other parts of Alabama and Georgia, we'll certainly jump on that as well. It's all about protecting you and saving lives. That's why we do what we do. I'm an emergency manager, and I love doing this. There's Jeff Monroe, Jeff and Cindy watching from 5 Points, Alabama, down there at the venue at 5 Points Farms. Jeff is one of those folks I was just telling you about. Jeff and Cindy are huge supporters of Dr. Don's Weather, and every chance you get to let Jeff know, let him know how much you appreciate him and Miss Cindy sponsoring us here on Dr. Don's Weather, because it's folks like Jeff and Cindy that keep us going so that we can give you the weather, severe weather information that you deserve across the region. Thank you, Jeff and Cindy. I appreciate you guys so very much. Our morning forecast we do every day, our primetime forecast, the current conditions that we show on the primetime forecast come live and directly from their farm there in 5 Points, Alabama. Pretty cool stuff. And didn't know it, but Jeff and I crossed paths in a totally separate spaceship, if you will, on the emergency management side. Jeff's a grant writer, and so we've done some business with him with the agency that I work for, my daytime grocery paying job. So pretty cool stuff there. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate the kind words. Wedowee and Sharpsburg, Georgia. Good to have you on. Thank you, Heard County. I appreciate those kind words. Allie, Heard County is home. That's part of it. I mean, I ran into somebody at a conference just last week that lives in Heard County. So, yeah, Heard County's part of our family. Warner Robbins in the house. Jay Phillips watching from Roanoke and Wadley. Sherry says got some light rain and lightning in Cragford. Leslie's watching us in Noonan. Charlotte's watching us in Columbus. Paula is in 5 Points. Karen is in Lineville. Steve is in Pine Mountain. Bobby watching us over in Noonan. Millerville. Hey, John. Frog Eye. There's Jessica. Lauren's in Roanoke. Yeah, and I got to tell you, let me see if I can download this. I want to show it to you. And y'all bear with me. I got to do something on the fly here. So this is an experimental model that the National Weather Service is using that shows instability. And what this is, it is a 4-hour maximum probability of at least one severe weather report within a given area. And let me kind of get this where we can see it. You folks watching this on that big screen TV can see this a whole lot better. I get it. But you'll notice there that the graphic is showing us an area from southwest Alabama right up through northern Autauga County, Chilton County, into Coosa, Talladega, Clay, northern Tallapoosa, central and northern Randolph, and southern Cleburne, and then over into Carroll County and northern Heard. That's the area where the best chance of severe weather will be over the next 4 hours. Now, does that mean it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But the computer says that is the area where the most instability remains, and that's the area that has the highest probability of seeing at least one severe weather report over the course of the next 4 hours. That I thought was pretty interesting, and I thought we would share that with you right quick. Here's the latest timing from the National Weather Service. This is a new graphic that was issued shortly after the tornado watch went up, and you can see there across East Alabama pretty much now through 1 a.m., and for you folks in West Georgia, pretty much now through about 2 a.m. Going back to the radar, you can see that we're still watching that one storm in Tallapoosa County. And this one stretches from just southwest of Wadley down through New Site and Alexander City. I have one hail marker, and it's giving me only a 50% chance that we have hail within that storm. And let's check the base velocity on it. Yeah, I see no rotation with that storm. And we're looking at, and these are winds aloft now. These are not winds at the ground, but we're looking at, there's a 40, I saw a 40 mile per hour wind. And that's, I think maybe I caught a 41 right. Yeah, there's a 41.2. That's just southwest of New Site. Again, that's up in the upper levels. It's a 42.3. That's up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's not at the ground. If you get some heavy rain right there, and we do have heavy rain in this area, it can push some of those winds down to the ground. So certainly conceivable. You could be looking at 20 to 25 mile per hour wind sustained for, a few minutes at the time in this particular area between Alexander City and New Site. Go back to the reflectivity. Let's look at level 3, if that will load right quick. Thank you, Donna Young. I appreciate your kind words. Level 3 is not wanting to go, so we'll go back to level 2. And I'll put this in motion so you can kind of get an idea for the direction these storms are moving. And again, these storms, they did just exactly what the models told us they were going to do. They formed almost within 10 minutes of when the models said they would form, and they grew rapidly. But when they got to a certain maturity in that cycle, they just kind of stopped and haven't really grown any stronger since, which is very good. It's not to say that that's the way things are going to remain, but that is the trend at the moment. You look for trends. When you're looking at weather, you look for trends. That's the only real thing that's consistent when you're talking about weather, and particularly severe weather. You look at the overall trend of how things are working. And the overall trend here is these storms are developing, getting to a certain stage in the cycle, and then they just kind of stop right there. You're going to certainly have rain, thunder, lightning, gusty winds. But so far, we have seen multiple storms that indicated broad rotation, which all storms rotate. But so far, we haven't seen anything go tornadic, and that's good. No, there's no tornado in Woodland, Alabama. There's no tornado in the state of Alabama. There's no tornado in the state of Georgia at this hour. Let me zoom out, and we'll just look at the entire southeastern United States. I got to be honest with you. The closest tornado warning, let me go back over and turn on the composite so you can see the entire country. And that may take a moment to load. There we go. The closest tornado at this moment to the state of Alabama is several hundred miles away. I mean, we're talking way up here just to the east of Columbus, Ohio. That's the closest tornado warning at the moment. From East Alabama and West Georgia, the closest tornado at the moment is 504 miles away and moving in the opposite direction. Now, we have two thunderstorms in the state of Alabama that bear watching. One of them is just northeast of Alexander City, moving up into extreme southeast Clay and southwest Randolph. And the other one is just north of Demopolis, Alabama, just south of Tuscaloosa. Neither of them are severe at the moment, but they are within a tornado watch. So anytime you have a strong thunderstorm inside of a tornado watch box, you got to pay attention to it. What's the question about Randolph? You got two distinct areas of activity here. You got this stuff that's in central Alabama that's moving up into East Alabama right now. That's the area that we really were concerned about, and so far it hasn't developed into anything severe. Then you have the main line, which is still back over West Alabama, and that'll move through. That will move through East Alabama toward midnight, 1 a.m. Right now, none of this is severe. I mean, none of it is severe. What is the storm going to hit in Randolph? Well, you've got rain down there in Alexander City that's moving northeast. It's not a severe storm. Maybe we'll call it a strong storm. Now, that's about to move up into Randolph now near Wadley. But there's nothing severe about it. And then you have that stuff back over West Alabama that will be in here after midnight. Oh, you're welcome, Charlotte. That's what we're here for. And y'all know I love me some James Spann. And rightfully so. Everybody does. James is where it's at. But he can't do this. You understand? Because he's covering a huge metropolitan area in Birmingham. That's one of the cool things about what we can do. We can go one-on-one, and we can take you down to street level, and we can talk specifically about neighborhoods. I mean, he does that too, but you understand what I'm saying. We can get a whole lot more one-on-one with you. Hey, Mary Wilkins, thank you. Hey, Mayor Hicks. Roanoke PD is open for a safe place, okay? So if you live within safe driving distance of the city of Roanoke and you want to come, just make sure you're in a safe place. City of Roanoke's police department is available for a safe place. Watching from close to Gunner Air Force Base in Montgomery, nice to have someone good at their craft. Well, thank you, Bama Roger, I think. I happen to know right where you're at because I was born and raised in Prattville, Alabama. Thank you, Regina. Yeah, Kim, you're right. Any storm that comes through Alexander City normally ends up in southern Clay or southwestern Randolph. That's 100% correct because generally speaking, our storms run from southwest to northeast. Not always the case. Sometimes they run west to east, sometimes northwest to southeast, and occasionally from the east to the west. But for the most part, those storms move southwest to northeast. You got a little something down there in southeast Clay, but again, it's below severe limits. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. West Point, no, you look good right now. There's a little cell trying to get going down there between Tuskegee and Columbus. Well, I think that would go south of West Point, though. I don't see anything downstream for West Point. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie just subscribed from Winston County, Alabama. Good stuff. Thank you. Goodwater, Alabama. Yeah, you got some rain in the hood, but nothing severe. Thanks, Kay. Thank you, Shamrock. That's a lot of what we do. Weather has always been a huge interest of mine. I was the geek at 13 years old. Playing weatherman in my bedroom with my dogs and cats as the audience. But I really like helping people. I mean, that's what drives me. My entire career has been in public safety. That's what I do. And if we can sit here and talk everybody through it and let you know what we're seeing and what we think is going to happen, then it's time well spent. Yes, Josh, you're supposed to be watching me, not talk to everybody in the chat room. These knuckleheads I work with up here. Sorry, got distracted. Anything for Opelika? Nope, nothing for Opelika. But you got a cell down there around Beauregard that's trying to develop, but right now it's just a shower. There's nothing severe to it. I see you, Josh. Y'all, yeah, sometime I need to tell you about Josh Taylor. I got to wait till he's not in here, though. Susan's watching us in Woodland. Is there another set of storms expected? Well, we've got two distinct areas. Maybe we've got three that's in the process of developing. But we got those showers and thunderstorms across central Alabama over into east Alabama, particularly that one just southwest of Wadley. And then we have an area down around Tuskegee, Union Springs, Columbus that's trying to get going. So far, nothing severe. And then we have the main line itself, which is still back over west Alabama. All this stuff is moving to the east, northeast. Some of you may get away without even seeing a raindrop, which is good. Others may have a couple of rounds of storms. But the overwhelming, glaring message that we're seeing from the trend so far, these storms are not severe, and that's good. We've seen them intensify quickly and get to a certain stage in that growth cycle and then just stop. And that's where we are right now. I mean, we don't even have any special weather statements out there. No warnings whatsoever in the state of Alabama. The only thing we have is a tornado watch that officially goes out till 2 a.m. But I got to tell you, if this trend continues, the tornado watch is going to get canceled way early. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. Right now, nothing severe. I mean, we're watching for the possibility of severe weather, but so far, everything has behaved just fine. I don't know if I'm going to stay live the entire time or not. It's 8:21. I'm probably going to take a break around 8:30. I'll probably leave the feed up while I'm taking a break. We'll probably ride this till about 9 o'clock. If we haven't had anything severe by 9 o'clock, I may take the feed down and then just monitor and come back if anything changes. But so far, the good news here is these storms just have not gone severe. Again, for Randolph County, you got a storm down there just southwest of Wadley that's about to move in, but it's not severe. Certainly some rumbles of thunder, some periods of heavy rain. There's scattered storms out there. You are under a tornado watch, but so far we have no severe weather. Y'all need one of these, and you can support me by doing it. There's a link that's scrolling in the chat room. We can go to the Dr. Don Weather Store and purchase a Dr. Don coffee cup. You can also get one of these T-shirts. You can get a hoodie. We've got ball caps. We've got sweaters, I think, sweatshirts. And you're supporting Dr. Don's Weather when you make those purchases. Part of the proceeds come back to me. So I encourage you to get you a Dr. Don coffee cup. Please take a picture, a selfie with your coffee cup and send it to me. And then I'll feature you here on Dr. Don's Weather. If you'd like to win one of these, get in touch with Jamie Dukas and tell him you want a Dr. Don coffee cup. He's going to get a little information from you. He's going to do a quick review of your insurance, your current insurance, and he's going to show you how he can save you money. And then he's going to send me your name, and I'm going to put you in the drawing. We'll give away a free Dr. Don coffee cup every Friday morning here on Dr. Don's Weather. If you head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe and click that little bell, I'm going to add your name into the drawing a second time, so you're doubling your chances to win a Dr. Don coffee cup. How about that? If you'd like to support us, but you really don't know how or what to do, go buy a Dr. Don coffee cup. Or you can click on a number of different links that's scrolling there in the chat room to support us. Our PayPal.me account's probably the easiest way to do it. But if you're on Venmo or Cash App, several of them are available for you. And that information, the links to go do that, are in the chat room. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate those kind words. Brother Mike is watching us in Wadawi. If you're just tuning in, we're watching for the possibility of severe weather formation across East Alabama, West Georgia. We're watching a couple of different areas here to see if any of these storms can make it to severe status. There's one area. There's another area. And then, let's see if we can do this. No, that ain't going to work. Let me put it on freestyle. And then the line of thunderstorms, the cold front itself is still back over here in West Alabama. All this stuff in between these two very crooked lines that I just drew on the screen. That's the actual cold front. And then these storms are forming out ahead of the cold front. And now we've got a third area that's beginning to develop out ahead of the cold front between Union Springs, Tuskegee, Auburn, and Columbus. And the good news is none of these storms are severe at this hour. And so we're watching to see if that's going to change. The Storm Prediction Center, in coordination with the National Weather Service out of Birmingham and Atlanta, issued a tornado watch a little over an hour ago. And for the possibility, because they feel like there is a chance these storms could go severe. But so far, that hasn't happened. These storms have grown to a certain level, and they've just kind of plateaued. They just stopped in their growth cycle, which is good. They didn't make it to severe level. And so we're watching to see if that's going to change. We have a low-level jet. That is a, when you go to the beach and you see the waves come in, well, this is kind of like waves in the atmosphere. It's the jet stream. It's where the air is transported. And you have two. You have upper-level and lower-level jet streams. The lower-level jet stream's down at about 5,000 feet. And we have a low-level jet coming up out of the southwest, and it's moving in this right in the general area of where that arrow is. And it's pumping a tremendous amount of moisture up into East Alabama and West Georgia, and it's causing veering in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So when you get a thunderstorm that starts rotating and hits the veering or the changing of direction of the wind up in the jet stream, then those storms start to spin violently, and that's where the tornadoes come from. So far, we've seen storms start to spin, but apparently the low-level jet's not as strong as the computer models anticipated. So we're not seeing them spin up into tornado-producing storms, or at least we haven't seen that develop yet. I don't think we're out of the woods. I think there's still an opportunity for that to happen, but so far it just hasn't materialized. I kind of figured this much, Brother Mike. All right, I was just looking at some discussions going on in the chat rooms for Atlanta and Birmingham, and they just made a comment. They're watching Randolph County, but nothing to justify any kind of warnings at this point. They're also watching Tallapoosa County. But we don't have anything severe there. Let me go to the go back to NextRad, and I want to peek into this one down here in southwestern Coosa. Well, maybe we get to. All right, bear with me while we restart. All right. Now I want to look at the base velocity on this one. So we're beginning to get a little bit of a trailing segment down here on the southern end. We'll call this the Kelly Crossroads storm. But I don't see anything there. We do have very broad rotation on the Daviston storm. This is the storm coming up into southwestern Randolph, but that is very broad. That right there. So there's no indication that we have anything tornadic in this storm, but there is rotation. But again, folks, understand that's normal. Gosh, I hope that's not the case. It was just reported that a 7.4 magnitude earthquake just hit Taiwan. That would be horrible. Yes, this is rotation just before you get up here to Wadley. But understand, folks, this is normal. Thunderstorms do this. That doesn't mean there's a tornado in it. All thunderstorms spin. All thunderstorms rotate. What we have to have here is a very tight couplet to get a tornado going, and I don't see that. That's not showing up. We do not have a tight couplet. But this is what the Weather Service is talking about when they make the comment they're watching Randolph County. Just keeping an eye on this storm. That's all they're saying. It doesn't mean that there's any reason to be concerned here at all. And really, when you go back to the reflectivity, I don't see anything that looks suspicious in that storm at all. So CNN's reporting it also. Hey, Tracy, check Fox and see, check on a huge earthquake in Taiwan. Producer Tracy's on it. 7.4 is huge, folks. Excuse me. I tell you what, it's 8:33. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll leave the feed up. So I'll leave the radar up on the screen for you. And I'm going to take a quick break, refill the coffee cup, check on the reports that we're getting check on the reports that we're getting on what's reportedly happened in Taiwan. And of course, I'm watching this. I've got all my weather stuff is right here on the phone. And I carry this with me. So if something were to change, I'll come right back with you. And in any case, I won't be gone but about 3 or 4 minutes. I'll be right back with you anyway. So we're going to take a break, and I'll be right back with more weather coverage here on Dr. Don's Weather. right, East Alabama, West Georgia, it's 8:42 Central, 9:42 over on the eastern side of the time zone. It's Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. Dr. Don's Weather, we are live watching the possibility, the mere possibility of some severe weather across East Alabama and West Georgia. So far, we have had thunderstorm development, but these storms have stayed below severe limits. We are currently watching storms moving across Randolph County, and we have two distinct areas here. We have that leading edge that's moving through Roanoke, and then we have the backside of it that's just now pulling away from Wadley. And again, there's nothing severe there. Let's check the base velocity. And we do have broad rotation on this storm, but it's very broad. Right there, and that would be out there on Highway 22 just east of Wadley in the Dickard community, and that's going to continue moving off to the northeast, kind of in that direction. But again, this is broad rotation, which is perfectly normal for a thunderstorm. All thunderstorms rotate. We don't see anything in this storm that indicates that we have a tornado in the storm. And I'm watching the National Weather Service chat room. They are telling us that they're keeping an eye on that storm in Randolph, but they're just not seeing anything of any great concern in this storm at the moment. I was also able to find a little information on what's happening in Taiwan. This was posted from the BBC about 18 minutes ago. Strongest earthquake in 25 years rocks Taiwan with tsunami warnings issued for nearby countries. And so we're also monitoring CNN and Fox. I would expect some significant coverage over there on both of those channels here at any moment. New York Times is reporting it. Reuters is reporting it. About 1 hour ago, Reuters says that the quake hit at 7:58 a.m. at a depth of 9.6 miles just off the east coast of Taiwan. And it has registered at a 7.4. which is the strongest earthquake to strike in 25 years. I got to tell you, 7.4 now, there's some other outlets that's calling it a 7.5. Either way, that is going to be devastating. And we'll keep an eye on that story as it develops as well. Raining sideways in Casita. Let me put you back over on the reflectivity. And Casita being down here in southern Chambers County. And yeah, you got some showers down there, but nothing of any significance. No question the two areas that have the potential of producing would be this storm system in Randolph County, and then the other storm system we're watching over in Coosa, southern Clay, and northwestern Tallapoosa near Goodwater. And the strongest part of that's going to be down here just to the west of Alexander City. But again, folks, in both of these cases, neither of these storms are severe. They're just strong at this point. Yeah, 7.4, 7.5 is tremendous in as far as earthquakes are concerned. So the National Weather Service is now clearing some counties from the tornado watch. And we just picked up a significant weather advisory from the National Weather Service for that storm coming out of Randolph, coming into Hurd. So let's zoom out. And we'll see that a few counties up here in extreme northwest Alabama have been cleared from the tornado watch. And there's a big picture of what's going on. We still have storms north of Birmingham that are moving to the east. We still have a few storms over in West Alabama that are moving off to the east, northeast as well. And the National Weather Service out of Peachtree City just issuing a special weather statement for Heard and Coweta County in Georgia. And that's going to be for this storm rotating out of Randolph County into Heard County. And I'll just read the verbiage of this for you. A strong thunderstorm will impact portions of southeastern Carroll, southwestern Douglas, Heard, northern Troup, and Coweta County through 10:30 p.m. Eastern. At 9:46 p.m. Eastern, a strong thunderstorm was over Rock Mills or near Roanoke, moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. The hazard with this storm is 40 to 55 mile per hour wind, pea-sized hail, and frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. So interesting that the National Weather Service in Birmingham did not issue anything on this storm for Randolph County, but the National Weather Service out of Peachtree City issuing a special weather statement now for Heard, southeastern Carroll, and Coweta counties of west central Georgia. Brooklyn asking about Odenville. Nothing severe anywhere near Odenville. We have no severe weather warnings anywhere in the state of Alabama at this hour. The only weather watch we have is that tornado watch that's in effect until 2 a.m. But I'll be surprised if they leave it up that entire time. Talladega, well, again, folks, I can't tell you for sure how these storms are going to behave through time. I can tell you what we've seen so far. I can tell you what the trend has been. The trend has been that these storms developed quickly and they got to a certain point in their cycle and they just kind of plateaued. They didn't grow any stronger, and they didn't weaken. That's the trend. So far, we haven't seen them grow into tornadic-producing thunderstorms. And when you're talking weather, that's what you look for is trends. And so far, the trend has been on our favor, and that we haven't seen these storms go severe. Does that mean that they cannot, that the trend can't change and they can go severe? Absolutely, they could. So if you're up there in Talladega, I can't tell you with any certainty that you're out of the woods, because you still have storms off to your west that may move through Talladega County in the next couple of hours. But I can tell you that at the moment, there's nothing out there that's severe, that's moving in your general direction. Hope that makes sense. Noonan George in the house. Do I think this is turning into a bust? I hope so. I hope that's what we're seeing. But you'll have to understand, throughout the entire day, we've been telling you that this was going to be highly conditional. And it would be highly conditional based on the fact whether or not we could get the low-level jet really energized across East Alabama. And apparently, up until right now, that hasn't happened. Could that change over the course of the next hour or so? Sure, it could. This is one of those setups that's kind of backwards. Normally, we see storms weaken when we lose the daylight. In this particular type setup, we could actually see the threat increase as we go throughout the evening with that increased jet stream flow out of the southwest, pushing moisture up off the Gulf of Mexico. But does all of that develop exactly the way the computer models think that it will? That's a $64 million question. So far, it has not. But that could still change. So the trend has been trending toward a bust, if you want to classify it as a bust. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate you. Folks, when I get quiet on you, that's because I'm working on something here. I'm not ignoring you. Actually trying to download some photographs here. I'm having some trouble with that for some reason. You know, everything works flawlessly until you go live. Okay, I think we've got that. Let's take the big screen. Check it out. That's what I'm talking about. We got everybody piled up in the bed, including the human dog, watching Dr. Don's weather on the big screen TV. That's cool stuff right there. And that was from Brittany Enos. Says that her son Blake and dog Bingo. Oh, that was a year ago. Cool. That's even cooler. If you got photographs watching us on a big screen TV, if you'll just send it to us on Messenger. We will see about getting that up for you as we sit here and watch and see if we're going to get any type of severe weather formation. Hoping that we don't. Okay, I was just looking at some stuff in the chat room too. Really nothing, no discussion on the storm that's moving out of Randolph into Hurd. Other than the National Weather Service in Peachtree City has issued a special weather statement for Hurd County. What does LaGrange look like? Do you think Woodland is coming tonight? I'm not sure what that means. What is Lynette looking like? Okay, folks, all of those locations you're asking about are in East Alabama and West Georgia. All of East Alabama and West Georgia has the risk for severe weather tonight. At the moment, there is nothing severe out there. We do have a strong storm moving out of Randolph into Hurd County, and we have a strong storm moving across northern Tallapoosa up into Clay County, which will eventually move across Randolph as well. But at the moment, there's nothing severe. Can that change? Absolutely it can. Do I think Woodland is clear tonight? No. You're not in the clear until the tornado watch is canceled or it expires. As long as you're under a tornado watch, there is the risk for severe weather. Thank you, Brandon. No, Roanoke's not in the clear either. You're still under a tornado watch. Hey, Bobby G. I got some rain over in Glenn, Georgia. Yeah, grab a cup of coffee. That's a good idea. Thank you, Caden. Harrelson. Yeah, well, be thankful. But yeah, we've still got the main line still back over in, well, it's coming up on Birmingham. So Harrelson, Georgia, you've got the main line to go. This stuff down in Clay and Randolph probably doesn't make it up to you. But the main line that's pushing through West Alabama will. But again, at the moment, the main line's not severe either. Yes. West Georgia, you've got a special weather statement for Hurd County right now, which is about as West Georgia as you can get. West Point, Georgia, you've got some showers right there knocking on your door right now, just right there at Lynette, and they're moving northeast. So you may have some showers here in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and then probably several hours from now, it may be 1 or 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, this stuff back over Demopolis will end up moving over West Point as well. Wadley, you got a strong storm just to your west over about Mellow Valley that's about to move through Wadley. So you're correct. At this exact moment, you're good. But you've got some more thunder and lightning just off to your west. Thank you, Drew Murr. Yeah, southwest Carroll County, you're good. As a matter of fact, all of Carroll County is good. I know they issued that special weather statement that caught the southeast corner of Carroll, but the bulk of that is in central Hurd County. And there's still a piece over in eastern Randolph that may be making it up into Carroll here in the next 15 or 20 minutes. Storming in Cragford. You better believe it is. I saw a question about, can we go to bed in Roanoke? No. I mean, you can if you want to. Well, it depends on your level of comfort. But you're not out of the woods yet. You're still in a tornado watch. Until that tornado watch is lifted, and that goes for all of you across East Alabama and West Georgia. Joey, I'll drink any kind of coffee I can get my hands on, but yeah, the Skull coffee, it's good stuff. Storms in West Alabama are not weakening, but they're not intensifying either. They're just kind of holding their own right now. Heavy lightning in Lineville, according to Karen. I mean, seriously, folks, it's your level of comfort. I mean, that's a decision you have to make. I can tell you that there is no severe weather out there right now that's headed toward any one particular place. But that can change. It can change quickly with a setup like we've got right now. The overall trend has been good. The overall trend has been in our favor. We did see these storms ramp up real quick, but they just kind of evened out, and they haven't gone stronger and they haven't gone weaker. They're just kind of what they are right now, which is just some strong storms. But could that change? And the answer to that question is yes, it could, and it could change quickly. If you feel comfortable with that, then by all means, start counting sheep. But if you're one of those that maybe has a little anxiety about severe weather and you want to make sure you know what's going on around you, then I wouldn't go to bed until the tornado watch is canceled, or at least until the back edge of that last line moves through. Check and see if we have any broad rotation still out there, and I don't see anything. Now, there may be a little bit right there, and that's just southwest of the mountain community. Let's see how that lines up with the reflectivity. Yeah. It does line up with the reflectivity well. So that could be a little rotation taking place. But again, folks, that's broad rotation. That is not what you typically look for in a tornado type situation. This would be up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, not on the ground. There's no funnel cloud. There shouldn't be anything here. All this is telling us is that we have a well-developed thunderstorm that is rotating. So the Weather Service continuing to watch this as it moves up across southern Clay, and eventually it'll end up over in Randolph. And so now the strongest looking storm is going to be back over here toward Demopolis, back over in southwest Alabama. So here's the plan. We're going to sorry about that. I'm bad about doing that, by the way. So y'all call me out to catch me doing it. There we go. Again, I'll show you the strongest storm is by far this one back over here by Demopolis. You see the two areas here in East Alabama there across Clay. Now, I mean, it's storming out there. If you're in Delta, Cragford, Flat Rock area, mountain community, Mellow Valley, you got torrential rainfall, you got thunder, you got lightning, maybe even some small hail. And there is some indication that we may have a little broad rotation down here on the southern end of this thing, down here on what I would refer to as the tail end of the storm. But it's broad rotation. There's no indication of any tornadic type activity taking place there. And that's going to move through Randolph as well. Then there's going to be a break in the action. This stuff down here around Lynette really hasn't developed into anything. And then the back edge of all of this is stretching from about Coleman down to just northwest of Birmingham on down to around Demopolis. And that's moving off to the east. It's going to be a couple of hours before that makes it through East Alabama and West Georgia. So I'm thinking what we're going to do here, it is 9:08. The kids are camped out in the living room. Nothing messing with their spring break plans. I get it. That's good stuff. So it's 9:09. We're going to take this to 9:15. If we don't have anything develop between now and 9:15, then we are going to we're going to take the feed down, and then I'm going to monitor. And if anything changes, I'll come right back and we'll continue with this. Understand, I got to put groceries on the table, so I do have a daytime job. So I've got to work tomorrow. I mean, if we get into severe weather, I'll stay up all night. That's not a problem. But if there's no real need to be here, then I'm going to take the feed down. I will monitor. I promise me, producer Tracy can testify. This joker right here will wake the dead in the middle of the night. Anything happens, I get it. I have disco lights that go off. It's like the world comes to an end at our studios in Northeast Georgia if anything is issued for East Alabama or West Georgia, and then it only takes me a matter of about 30 seconds to get on the air. So if we do go down here in about 5 minutes, I will monitor this. And if there is a reason to come back on and continue with live wall-to-wall coverage, then I most certainly will. So that's going to be our plan. Thank you all for being with us here tonight. I appreciate all the comments. We haven't really had a whole lot of severe weather this spring, so we haven't spent a tremendous amount of time together. And I've those of you who are old enough, you'll remember the Maytag repairman. Well, that's kind of how I feel when we have no reason to be together, though I do give you a weather forecast every single day. If you folks don't know that, every single morning I broadcast and post a pre-recorded weather forecast. So I hope that you follow us on Facebook and go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe and hit that notification button so you at least get our daily weather forecast. It's a real short, 5 to 6 minute capsule with what we expect is going to happen over the next couple of days with your weather across East Alabama and West Georgia. And I hope you pay attention to that when we don't have severe weather. But there's been a minute between severe weather outbreaks, and so we hadn't been together for a while. So I really have this is as good as it gets. I get to spend time with you, and we don't have to deal with severe weather. And so far, that's what we've been looking at this evening. Dr. Don is live in the Henry County Emergency Operations Center. Thank you, Henry County. You folks are fantastic. And anytime I see my emergency management people, I got a little special place right there for you. Because, quite honestly, unless we get something going here in a few minutes, I'm going to take a break and a nap, because if the storms were to intensify as they move into Northeast Georgia, I may end up in the White County Emergency Operations Center before the night is over with. So I'm just I'm an emergency manager. I'm trying to plan ahead. That's what we're doing here. The storm's back over Demopolis. Okay, so the counties in the path of this, as far as East Alabama's concerned, let me put it in motion so you can get a sense of the direction that these storms are moving. They're moving east, maybe a little bit northeast of due east. And these storms developing down here in Demopolis will move in this general direction. So they very well could end up in places like Clanton, up there in Chilton County. They very well could move across Coosa, Tallapoosa, Clay, Randolph, Chambers. Maybe they take a little bit more of an eastern track as they move across the state. If that happens, then we may be looking at something more like so. This would be southern Chambers, across portions of Elmore, southern Tallapoosa, and even across Lee County. And we've got some storms developing down in South Alabama that could creep up into the Columbus, Phoenix City, and even Chambers County a little bit later on as well. You see we've got one little bitty small cell down here around Greenville, and we've got some rain trying to develop down around Troy that could move up into this area as well. So that's why I'm telling you, you're not in the clear until this tornado watch is completely canceled, and that likely won't happen until after 1 or 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's going to take that length of time for the back end of this stuff to get pushed all the way into East Alabama. But the good news so far is that the trend overall has been for these storms to mature and then just kind of level out before they go severe. And that's what we've seen over the last couple of hours. All afternoon, the computer models, and I'm talking about multiple computer models, were in agreement that these storms would explode across East Alabama and move into West Georgia and could potentially become tornadic. And that was supposed to happen around between 7 and 8 p.m. Central. And it was almost like clockwork. These storms started forming about that time down here in Dallas County near Selma. I'm going, oh, this is not good. It's doing exactly what the computer said it would do, and they did rapidly grow. But once they got to a certain level, they just kind of stopped growing, and they've maintained. We did get some rotation from time to time from some of the storms that formed out ahead of the main line, but so far they haven't gone severe. And so we're watching still those cells that are moving through East Alabama, and we're watching the backside of all this stuff from Birmingham back down to Demopolis. That's the backside of all of the weather. Once that moves through your area, the tornado watch will be canceled, and we will be done. And the long-range forecast looks pretty good. I mean, we're going to cool off. Maybe a little frost on the pumpkin on Thursday morning and Friday morning. Make sure I got my days right. And then we'll slow moderating warming trend as we get into the weekend. But right now, Saturday and Sunday looks rain-free. Pretty ugly in Hurd. You've got that storm that came out of Randolph. It's basically from about Franklin north in Hurd County, and you definitely have got some heavy rain up there around Central Hatchie, up to around Ephesus. Very heavy rainfall up there. You got some thunder and lightning as that moves off to the northeast. And back over in Randolph, same thing going on from basically the Cleveland County line up there on 431 all the way down to Wedowee and west of 431, the Liberty community. Heavy rain across Lake Wedowee down to around Malone. And then in Clay, it stretches back down to around Gibsonville and then down to the mountain community. That also is moving off to the east-northeast and will move right across northeast Randolph County. We've got a cell that's trying to get going now just to the southwest of Sylacauga. Then that line of storms northwest of Birmingham, and then it breaks up a little bit, and then it picks back up down around Demopolis. But again, the good news here, folks, you see that the only weather advisory we have on the screen is a special weather statement that continues for Heard County, and right now primarily northern Heard County, northeastern Heard County, extreme southeastern Carroll, and then down into Coweta County. And then we have the tornado watch that's in effect until 2 a.m. Other than that, that's all we've got in the state of Alabama. No warnings anywhere. And also in Georgia, no warnings anywhere. And for you folks up here in northeast Georgia, right now, I see no reason to be concerned about anything. The only weather that we may see will be the backside of this line as it moves across after about 1 or 2 a.m., unless something else develops, and right now there's no indication that's going to happen. So given the possibilities with this storm system, so far, we have fared very, very well. Okay, folks, what we're going to do now, I'm going to take the feed down, and I hate to do that. We've got over 1,000 people in here. I hate to stop a live broadcast when we have that many people watching us, but, that's just the ones I know about. It's probably double that, really. Thank you, Tammy, for reminding me of that. I'm trying to convince myself I need to go take a nap, and you're saying, so far. But again, let me assure you, there's nothing out there that is life-threatening at the moment. You got some very heavy rainfall, some gusty wind, thunder and lightning. I mean, it's storming. There's no question about that in Randolph, portions of Randolph, especially over on the west side, and across northern Heard. We're watching the Weather Service. Matter of fact, the Weather Service, Birmingham's telling us that they're about to clear another row of counties from the watch. That's going to be Walker, Tuscaloosa, Greene, and Sumter, about to be removed from the tornado watch. And as that line of storms continues to move across Alabama, your county will be removed from it as well. So anyway, we're going to take the feed down now. I will monitor offline if there's any reason whatsoever to come back. If I feel like there's anything you need to know, I'll be back immediately, and we will continue this here on Dr. Don's Weather. Thank you for watching me. Hopefully you won't see me anymore tonight. That'll be a good thing. If you get that notification I'm going live, then you need to come on over and pay attention to what's going on. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you for joining us this evening. And if nothing else, I'll see you back in here first thing tomorrow morning with your prime time forecast on Dr. Don's Weather. Good night, y'all.